uncensored here as we work out the logistics. This definitely is live, folks, but this is what happens. The ritual begins. The corralling of the candidates is underway. All right, take it away.
It is, and we're joined by Secretary Julián Castro, who endured 3 hours with 11 other contenders tonight. This was a little more crowded than last time.
It was, having 12 people on the stage, that means that everybody's going to get a little bit less time. I thought that there were some great issues that we covered. There are also some issues left off the table that I think should have been addressed, whether it's the issue of housing, which I've challenged the New York Times and CNN to address because so many people are having a problem finding an affordable place to live. So many families paying 50, 60, 70% of their income every month in rent, but we never addressed something like that. We didn't address immigration this time, even though there have been differences in people's perspective on that. So we left some big issues off the table, even though it was a 3-hour debate.
Did you get enough time tonight?
I never think I got enough time, and I think this time I had the lowest amount of time. And so, we're going to keep working hard, though. I think I made the best of my time, the best use of the time that I did have, and people got a sense that I have a strong, compelling vision for the future of this country. From the very beginning of this campaign, I've fought for people in vulnerable communities that often don't have their voice heard. Today, I wanted to bring up that case of Tatiana Jefferson in Fort Worth that we should have talked more about, because this is an example of how especially young black men and women oftentimes are treated with excessive force by police. And it happens all the time, but we don't get enough time on that debate stage to actually address it.
In the last debate, Mr. Secretary, you were pretty harsh against Joe Biden. Did you recalibrate tonight? We didn't really see you go after him at all. Did you see that you didn't really get much of a return on that last time around?
No, what I saw was that, he and I had a disagreement on health care. I think that there was a robust conversation about health care this time. There was a bit of a disagreement on the issue of buybacks this time. But in these debates, when I've seen an opportunity to make a point, I've made it. And I think that I made my points tonight.
I'm looking, actually, there it is. Forgive me for looking at my phone, but I was waiting for this to come through. Have you filed your FEC report finally?
We did.
And how much did you raise?
I think we raised about $3.4 million, which was our strongest quarter so far. I think our average contribution is about $18 now. And so one of the things that we've done is just try to get stronger and stronger in this campaign. We've also conserved our resources well. I think, some of the campaigns probably are feeling the pinch of having built out large staffs, and now the fundraising isn't keeping up with that. One of the things I've been very intentional about, and I think smart in the campaign, is making sure that we only staff up as we grow. So we've been managing our resources well.
I asked this because tonight is the due date, essentially, to the Federal Election Commission on how much you raised in the last quarter.
That's right.
And
we got it in.
We got well, you better, because otherwise you'd be in big trouble. Are you of the mindset that you'll make it to November, to the next debate? Because you do have not only a fundraising threshold, which I think you've now met.
We've met the fundraising threshold from donors, and we're working to get the polling threshold. Obviously, we got about 3.5 weeks left to do that. I think this debate was part of creating, momentum and increasing my name ID. And so we're going to work hard to get there onto the November debate stage in Atlanta.
Mr. Secretary, there has been, the impeachment inquiry kind of hovering over everything. It was the first couple of questions of the debate tonight. You are not a member of Congress, although your twin brother is. Are you finding that it's difficult to kind of break through over the past few weeks on the campaign trail with the impeachment inquiry seemingly taking up a lot of the oxygen?
I mean, there's no question that that's taking up a lot of the time in terms of TV coverage, in terms of online, what people are reading. But I still think that there's plenty of opportunity for folks to lay out their own vision for the future of the country. And what I hear out there when I go and talk to voters in these early states is that people are still hungry for knowing, well, what are you going to do for the country? Not just, in addition to what's wrong with Trump, what's your plan for the future of our country? And I've tried in this campaign to lay out a strong vision for the future of the country, of how we can become smarter, how we can become healthier, how everybody can be more prosperous, and we can have a more fair country.
The fact that this, going back to the issue of police involved shootings, deadly police involved shootings, you now have 2 high-profile cases in your state. There was that one in Dallas with the woman who was found guilty about 2 weeks ago.
That's Amber Geiger.
Right, and now this one in Fort Worth. The fact that your state now may be actually setting some precedents in charging and convicting police officers, and that it's happening in a state like Texas and not some other state across the country. I found that kind of notable that it's happening there. I don't know what you think of that.
Well, yeah.
And is it? I imagine the answer to this is yes. You'd probably like to see this happen in other states where these kinds of cases happen.
I want police officers who engage in excessive force to face consequences for that. You know, obviously, they're entitled to a fair trial like everybody else, but for the longest time in this country, it has been so difficult for the families of victims of police violence to find justice because either DAs wouldn't bring these cases or juries simply, even when the evidence was there, they wouldn't convict them. And we're finally starting to see, and I'm glad that it's in Texas, I hope it's in other places too, we're finally starting to see more justice, as there should be. I put out a police reform plan, and that includes how we can improve our police departments, hold officers accountable, and also work to mend the rift that too often exists between certain neighborhoods and communities and police. So it's much larger than just these cases against these police officers. We need to reform the entire system.
All right. Well, Secretary Castro, thanks again for stopping by.
Okay.
It was good to see you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.
We'll talk